Well, Dash, thank you so much for joining me today. Congratulations on the movie. I had a lot of fun with it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for I'm happy to be here.
Now, is when this project comes across your desk, however it gets there, through your agent, through however it is, was it kind of the concept of this film that was really the attraction? Because I love action. I mean, action all day for me. This is my bread and butter. This is what I live and breathe for. But what I'm noticing about action films that have come out in the last couple years is there's a really smart kind of a difference to them that isn't the typical 80s, 90s, 2000s action. There's a different hook in them. Was that what kind of drew you to this one, the concept?
I think 100%. I mean, action films are action films, but I do like action films. I think I showed my 11-year-old daughter Die Hard for the first time, and that's like the best action movie of all time to me. So there's that. But yeah, no, you have to make them more interesting and I believe these days and try to find a little bit of more thread of the humanity, but at the same time you don't go too far, but find the humanity in all the characters and try to tell a heist story in a different way, which is always going to be tough. And we'll see what you as the critics think, but I think we did that. Otherwise, none of us would want to do it. But that drew it to me, and obviously being with Sylvester Stallone is great, and getting to play on par and level with him was awesome.
Well, when you talk about though, a heist film and finding the humanity in it, you're right. There's always got to be a great balance because sometimes a criticism I might have of like a Godzilla movie is there's too much of the human. Like I want to see Godzilla messing things up, like break buildings and do all that. Like that's what I'm coming to the movie for. But in a film like this, where I said it is a heist film and there's a lot of tension built in, but there's tension built into the humanity, which I think makes the action feel all that much more special and more suspenseful and things of that nature. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that 100%. I mean, there's a difference between, having a monster also and having, good actors, I'd say. And I think that's what drew everybody to it. It's like we all have something going on in our lives, and this is why we're here at this moment. And if you can pull that off and keep the popcorn being shoved in your mouth, then you're doing well.
Yeah, well, y'all do well with that aspect. Trust me. It really translates through, and I really love this movie. And I had a question really about action, in general, from an acting standpoint of this is I think that look, when we're in this situation, I'm not an actor, so if I'm in this situation and they put me on set, I would think how I would react. But I think the interesting trick in an action or a fight scene or a battle scene or a gun battle or whatever is figuring out how your character would move and continuing the continuity of the character through the physical movements. How do you approach something like that?
Well, I think the key is to remember that there's never going to be continuity while you're shooting, ever. And so that makes that muscle memory you have to work all the harder. And knowing that you have a squad and family around you that can remind each other of where we're coming from, but without taking away from your personal experience. Uh, but that's the key to it all. Is you just have to walk in somebody else's shoes. I mean, everybody's like, well, how do you prepare for it? I'm like, you have to use your imagination. And the more you use your imagination and the more you've done it, the better you know how to get it done quickly and how to get back to that kind of place of being ramped up or not, or having to cry at any given moment. So that's the long answer.
No, no, no. That's a great answer. And but like, so how far does that go for you? Is it like, do you think of every aspect of he would hold his gun this way, he would approach a thumb this way? And how are those decisions made? Is that by yourself and you go to the director, or is it in concert with the director?
Well, it depends on what film you're in. I mean, obviously Sly has a ton of experience, and now I'm learning because I feel like I'm a kid still, but that I've been doing this for 30 years, and I know I've done everything you could ever do, I think. So being safe, obviously, number one. B, um, remember your surroundings and remember where the camera is and how what we have to get. I've said this before, but I think Sly has a very directorial brain, and I believe that the reason why we work together well is because he recognizes that in me as well. So, because we're trying to get this stuff and also help people who haven't done it as much as we have, and so that's the fun thing about film acting, I would say, is that you need to be able to go into that place, but also hit that mark and also know where that light is and also know what you have to get on this side, and also, not pull the trigger, even though we don't do that anymore. But you know what I mean? That's dare I say the craft, because I hate that word, but that is what it is.
What's the show? It's what you have to do in it. Everything comes with the.
You know what it is. You're on set. You know what you got to do. You know where I'm moving lights, you're moving mics. You know what I mean?
Right, right,
We
right.
adjust, right? We adjust.
You got to adjust. You're talking about one thing and somebody's in your ear. You're trying to direct this. It's really is a juggling act. It is a juggling act, and but the trick is, even though it is a juggling act, is to make it seem effortless.
Exactly. And if we pull that off, then we did our job, right?
Then you've done your job. You've done your job very well. Now you talk about Sly. I don't think there's a week that goes by that somebody, friend, wife, someone calls me with a problem, and I don't say, "Well, look, do you remember Rocky 2?" And like this is for every week of my life,
Good one. Rocky 2 especially. I love it.
Rocky 2 especially. Um,
Oh,
so obviously, and I say that because those movies mean so much to me, and him as a career and an icon, even to what he's doing on television now with Tulsa King, he's still operating at a very, very high frequency. Being on set with him, I feel like iron sharpens iron. You can only get better and pick up small tricks of the trade, if you will. What is something that you learn working with Sly?
not to speak it again, but just that I always knew he had a
Mm.
directorial brain and a writer's brain, and he's always thinking about the writing and always thinking about how so the minute he steps on set, we he's like, I think we should do this because we can get this, and this, and I'm thinking the same thing, just a little bit, it's just experience, and his we come from the edit too. You know what you need to get. You know what's going to work. You know what's going to cut. You know how this is going to be covered. You know what won't work. You know where the light is. That kind of stuff. That's so much fun to be around with somebody with that much experience. Whether it's validation of my own feeling about how I do things, or just learning that, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, we don't need to get that there because here. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff is just fun to work with a legend, because I'm always learning I learn from the PAs on set. You know what I mean? I'm always just trying to figure out who, if everybody's giving, they're all you recognize what they bring to it, and try to be a trampoline for each other.
Yeah, thinking singularly and acting collectively is how I describe like a movie set or a television set. It's just all same vision, but
I'm going to take that one. A
it's
lot
yours.
more for you if we had more time, because that's a really good one. I appreciate that.
Well, you know what?
Finesse, finessed urgency, I like to say.
Well, I like that one too. See, we're learning from each other. Well, Dash, the film was great. I really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun with it. Thank you so much for taking the time. Congrats again. It was a real pleasure.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate you, man. Be well. Have a great one.